I realized that I could help people that were experiencing really deep grief. But when it's like, oh, what's going on? How can I help? Oh, there's this part of me that is so afraid, or this part of me that's in so much grief and sadness. Okay, what do you need? What do you need?
So today is my third of my talks, and I'm getting really excited by these talks because these are the main people that I've been working with. So if I've got somebody that I feel needs to be pushed somewhere else as well as doing exercises, go to one of my 4 people. Now, Joy has been somebody who I've known for quite a few years now. And although she's in America, I actually like the thought of being online and not bumping into somebody in the street that I just opened out to. Joy is going to explain more about herself and her business. But I know that if anything else happens to Clarke, Joy knows I'm moving in with her. So I've known her through grief in the past that I've had. I've had lots of chats with Joy, and she's been very helpful. So, Joy, I want you to explain a little bit about you and what your business is and why you came into it.
Sure. Well, I guess why. Well, my business is the business name is Real Change Mentoring. And I call myself a grief guide. I don't only do work with people with grief, but it's a big portion of what I do. And the main reason for that is that in 2011, a partner of mine died. And I had never experienced grief in the emotional response, the mental response. I had never experienced anything like that. And it brought me to my knees over and over and over and over again. And I had some wonderful support, but I actually didn't have any counseling. And then later I started doing, taking trainings in different modalities, and realizing how helpful it was to be able to touch into the grief that I experienced, and to be more in touch with my emotions, and wanted to help people in that way. And so I started doing counseling or coaching with people. And then I realized that I had a real gift in grief because of my experience and because of my training. I could really speak with people about their grief, because until someone has really experienced the depth of grief, and everyone's grief experience is different. Some people, someone dies and it's not a huge response in their system, but for some people, it's the biggest thing you've ever experienced. And there's ways to help people. There's education, helping people to be educated about what happens with the mind when you're in grief, because the mind just doesn't know what to do with it. The mind wants everything to make sense, and this doesn't make sense at all. So I realized that I could help people that were experiencing really deep grief. And so I started switching towards that. And I work with people with everything. And I would say the core of what I work with people has to do with self-compassion for whatever is happening, whatever it is that the mind is doing, whatever it is that the heart and the body is doing. It's like compassion for all these parts of ourselves that is going through so much. And the more, it's just like when you're with a child and the child is acting out, whether it's, whatever the child is doing. If you yell at the child, it's not going to help as much as being like, oh, what's going on? What's happening? How can I help you? Let me hold you. Can I hold you? What, in the same inside of us, if we hate these parts of ourselves, if we're beating ourselves up for what our mind says to us and how it's working, then it's not helpful at all. Then you're at war. But when it's like, oh, what's going on? How can I help? Oh, there's this part of me that is so afraid, or this part of me that's in so much grief and sadness. Okay, what do you need? What do you need? It's like that.
So, I work with a lot of people who are in a lot of pain, and I can usually tell within about the first 10 minutes of working with somebody whether the pain is in the mind or is in the body. And I must say that people can poo-poo it, but it's not. It's real, and it's big time real. And I know that when Richard was going through his heart things and stress, I was stressed. None of my clients knew I was stressed because I don't let them know that. But my back gave it out completely. So the thing is, when I see somebody who has got great range of movement, but they're in so much pain, can you help people in that way as well?
Yeah, that's definitely an exploration. That again is about looking to see what's going on. Is something being held in a certain place in the body? Is the body being held in a certain way, like just holding in general, tightening the musculature, tightening the belly, tightening the butt muscles. Those are different things that we do in response to stress and trauma and just patterns of holding and protection. So much of it is about protection. So then it's about working with people and trying to see, why is that protection there? And can we help that area of the body not feel like it has to keep holding to protect? Oftentimes it has to do with things that happened in our childhood, and we get certain patterns of holding, and then beliefs and ideas around those patterns of holding. And so working with people to help to understand what's going on, and to help release those protections that have been working so hard, thinking that they're helping you. I'm going to hold on to these shoulders so tight because, who knows what's going to happen next. And I've got to be ready for, fight. And, and when we can work with whatever, that protector that, if we think of it as like a part of ourselves, this protection part, and we can help it and kind of show it like, oh, you actually, it's safe. You're actually not anymore in a situation where you have to be watching all the time or whatever it is. And then that area can relax more, and there's just greater relief in the system. And as you know so well, then, the head and the neck and the shoulders and the back and the legs and the hips, it's all connected. So when this can let go a little bit, then so much can happen. And then it's like handing back off to you. Okay, now back to you, Caroline.
I love it. It's so good. It's so cool the way that we can all work so well together. That's what I just love. I suppose what we're looking at now, Joy, is going forward in the future. And the world has changed completely because, since lockdown and everything, we're all online now, and it's just incredible. And I think the big thing is also that your partner Judy is amazing because has had such world experience of living with people out in Africa and living, she's lived in the bush out in Africa and has helped so many people out there at the same time. And it must be great for your business that you can actually work and have her as a backup. I use Richard as a backup. He's my rock, and he is so sensible and so great. Whenever I need to have someone, he's my rock in the background. So with you, is that similar?
Yeah, and I would say Judy, who is my partner, has been a therapist for like 40 years. And so I definitely look to her. When I first started seeing clients, we were seeing clients together and seeing couples a lot together, which worked out really wonderfully. And we're seeing individual people together too. And at some point she said, it's time for you to see your own clients and for me to see mine. And I was like, really? Are you sure? She's like, yeah. And she was right. And, we talked together about different clients, things that come up. So she has, been a mentor and a co-facilitator. We've done workshops together and all kinds of different things. We work really well together. And so, yeah, going into the future, I know that I'll be doing my thing and she'll be doing her thing with seeing clients individually. And I think we're going to work on some things that we can do together, some, like online one day or weekend courses, different types of things, and just kind of see where life leads us, because we've both done some of the same trainings together and work similarly in certain ways. And then of course we all have our own individual ways of being with people.
Do you find that you I know that we've talked a lot about grief with you. Do you find that you both specialize in different areas, or do you overlap a lot? How does it work?
I would say with Judy, where she's had a lot of experience is working with couples, and also she's had years and years and years of experience with addiction, and working with people who have these deeply entrenched habits, and also the family members, so incredibly hard on the family members. And that has been kind of a specialty of hers, is working with the family members of people with addictions. So I would say those are kind of her two things. And just people with like anxiety, so Yeah, we both can work with everyone, but we have our our areas that have a little more kind of passion and interest for us.
That's amazing. So, it's like with my business, so many people have said to me, "Oh, why don't you do this with it? And why don't you do that?" I can't. I can't be jack of all trades. I just got to stick to what I know and what I enjoy doing. And I think that's allows you to be the best you can with what you do, and also having experienced pain or having experienced things, it actually helps you work with other people. So, yes.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Well, Joy, thank you so much for joining me today. I just love it, and I love you both coming to class. And it's so good to have somebody in the background that I know when I can't work with somebody, I've got names, I've got websites, and I've got people that I can actually pass on to. It's very, very important to my business.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I feel blessed to be one of the folks that that you trust to send people to, and that means a lot.
Fabulous. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.